you. Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Clark. I am with RiverWoods Exeter and will be hosting you along with my colleague Dan for the next hour. You are in for a treat learning about RiverWoods Exeter. This is our introductory webinar that we always recommend people attend before they take the time to come and see us in person because it is chock full of information. I am joined today by my colleague, Dan Witham. So Dan and I will be partnering on this presentation today. We also have a third sales counselor by the name of Chrissy Cady. And between the three of us, it's really our roles to help you get informed about RiverWoods Exeter to decide if this might be a good fit for you someday in terms of a future community in which to thrive in your years ahead of you. All three of us have been assigned to certain of you on the list today of participants, and we will be following up with you in the next couple of days following this presentation. A few housekeeping items. Everyone is on mute, of course, but we do welcome your questions. We're going to make time at the end of the presentation for questions. You can submit those questions through the Q&A box that's located at the bottom of your screen. If you are on a mobile device or a tablet, it might be located at the top or the side of your screen, but that's where you would pop in your questions to us. We do encourage you to wait until we get towards the end of the presentation to put your questions in there because we cover a lot of information and chances are we've anticipated what you're going to be asking about and hopefully have answered it already during the presentation. We love your suggestions if you have any in terms of how we can improve these webinars and whether you have any topics that you would like to hear about, because we do a lot of webinars, both these introductory type as well as other webinars that are focused on specific topics. And we always welcome suggestions on what would be valuable to you. So we're going to start by talking about really the founding of RiverWoods, which was founded by these two women, Mariana Hatch, who was from Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who was from Exeter. And these women, upon realizing there was not really an option for seniors to age gracefully with the support of healthcare anywhere throughout the Seacoast area, they decided to band together and help create RiverWoods. Their goal was really to build a community where they could make new friends, get involved in causes that they cared about, and not have to worry about their future healthcare needs. And thus, RiverWoods Exeter was born in 1994. And today, more than 35 years after their first meeting, we also now have a community in Durham, which opened in 2019. So Mariana Hatch, originally from Durham, would be very delighted to know that we have that community here today. So RiverWoods really began as the dream of a small group of New Hampshire residents who wanted to create a better way to improve the experience of aging for others. And so today, we have a beautiful organization of three continuing care retirement communities. So almost 30 years later, we have this dynamic family of not-for-profit communities with that same mission of helping people to improve the experience of aging. All three of our communities share the same values, and they are advised by a volunteer board focused on the operations. That is our CCRC board. And the RiverWoods Group is our supportive organization. So the RiverWoods Group provides professional fee-based services such as human resources, marketing, information technology, finance, and quality, overseeing the quality of healthcare. The group also funds any at-risk projects within our three communities, as well as any new ventures. But it's important to note that all three of these RiverWoods communities that you see displayed here are financially independent of one another. And each also has the opportunity to provide additional funding to the RiverWoods group based on their available assets to help fund future growth. The Riverwoods Group is advised by a volunteer board of directors who are focused on the mission of the organization as well as growth. So that's just a little bit about the overview of the Riverwoods organization. RiverWoods Exeter, which Dan and I are going to be focused on telling you about today, is the original community. And it is now comprised of 3 campuses, which are pictured here. The original one, known as the Woods campus, that we opened first in 1994. 10 years later, we added the Ridge. And then 6 years after that, we added the Boulders. They are all located within a mile proximity to one another. We sit on 200 acres of wooded land here in Exeter, very bucolic, gorgeous setting. And each of these 3 campuses has all the necessary amenities that you would need, including dining rooms, fitness, studios, art studios, libraries, and other community gathering spaces. So each one individually has everything you need, but you also can access any of the 3, regardless of which that you live on, and use those amenities at any of these 3 campuses. It's important to note when you are looking at continuing care retirement communities, whether or not they are accredited. And RiverWoods Exeter is an accredited community by an organization that's known as CARF. And CARF stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. And it is a nonprofit accreditor of health and human services worldwide. And only about 10% of CCRCs are actually accredited. And RiverWoods Exeter was among the earliest to receive that accreditation. We renewed our accreditation in 2019 for 5 additional years. At that time, we earned placement in the top 3% of communities nationwide. We are now in the process of becoming reaccredited since it is a 5-year window, which we get accredited for. So we're in the process of starting to do the work around that so that we can be reaccredited again by CARF. So if you're looking at other communities, it'd be a great idea to go to the CARF website, which we've noted here, www.carf.org, and look up those other communities and see if they have been accredited by CARF. So I'd like to talk about life care, which is a term that's used interchangeably with continuing care retirement community, or CCRC is the acronym. Some of you may be very well versed in this concept, while others may just be starting this journey about learning about CCRCs. But life care is what some would say is a very smart financial solution to ensuring that you will have the care that you need as you age. We actually are a long-term care insurance product. And because of that, we are regulated by the New Hampshire Insurance Board. And the way that the model works is that there's an entry fee that you pay when you come to live at RiverWoods, of which 90% is refunded back to your estate upon your death or upon moving out. So because of that, it serves as a form of estate preservation. The other thing that's important to note about RiverWoods Exeter is we have what's known as a Type A CCRC contract. A Type A CCR contract gives you unlimited access to assisted living and nursing care for life without a change in your monthly fee. Now, I want to be clear, we do have annual price changes, as most services do with the cost of living increases. But what remains consistent is the monthly fee that you pay would be the same whether you're in an independent apartment or you're in an assisted living apartment or whether you're in long-term care or memory support. So none of us can predict what's going to happen with our health, but we can rest assured that the monthly fee at RiverWoods will remain the same regardless of what level of care you are receiving. We're really proud of our healthcare resources here at RiverWoods. So we have really the gamut of services that you will need, whether you're living independently or whether you are in long-term care. So we are really resourced to support current needs as well as future care needs. When you're living independently, you will still have your own primary care physician, but you will be able to access our wellness clinics, of which we have one on each of our 3 campuses here. And you can think of those as sort of the minute clinic, where they're open Monday through Friday, pretty much during business hours, staffed by a nurse practitioner and several other healthcare professionals. And their role specifically is to be there on call for the independent residents if they need support during the week, whether they have a sore throat, they have a dressing that needs to be changed on a wound, they need to get a blood pressure check, variety of reasons. They can access a wellness clinic, and that's all included in your monthly service fee. Beyond that, if your level of care or your needs increase, we do have assisted living apartments for singles or for couples. And then we offer memory support as well as nursing care. And those are levels of care are offered in private suites. We also can provide respite care. So if you're in a situation where you have a really bad case of the flu and you're living independently, but you really need somebody to help kind of support you through that bad virus, you can go over into our healthcare center and have us take care of you until you've recovered. We are overseen by a medical director whose name is Dr. Timothy Keenan. And Dr. Keenan is affiliated with Core Physicians, which is the physician group that is attached to Exeter Hospital. Most of the services listed here are covered by your monthly service fee. When we get into really more medical services, we would bill those out to Medicare. In addition to these on-site services that are listed here, we have several hospitals in the area. So I'm going to talk about this because some of you are from outside of the region. But we have Exeter Hospital, which is about 3 miles away. Exeter Hospital is affiliated with Beth Israel Lahey Clinic down in Massachusetts. We also have Portsmouth Hospital, which is about 25 minutes away. They are known for their excellent cardiac care. And then we also have Wentworth Douglas Hospital up in Dover, again, about a 25-minute drive. And they are affiliated or part of the Massachusetts General Network. Really great access to hospitals within 3 hospitals within a 30-minute drive. I want to talk a little bit more about healthcare because, first of all, it's the main reason people come live in a community like RiverWoods, but also because we actually have a shift in our strategy, which I want to tell you a little bit about. Today, we have 3 healthcare lodges, one at each of our 3 campuses, and they each provide these levels of service: assisted living, long-term care, and memory support. We also provide short-term rehab at one of our campuses, which is the Ridge campus. So if you had to be hospitalized and needed some extra support coming out of the hospital, you could do your rehab at that particular campus. And we have some challenges with this model, which we had developed back in really when we were planning this back in the 80s, and a lot has changed then. So some of the challenges with this model of having 3 small healthcare lodges is, first of all, the staffing is very challenging, particularly in this environment where there's a shortage of healthcare workers. The second challenge with this is each of these three small healthcare lodges have limited amenities. They don't have exercise areas, they don't have hair salons, they don't have a library. So because they're small, they have limited amenities. So they need to go over to the independent living side to access those amenities. And then thirdly, our buildings are becoming rather dated that we had built, particularly the original one, which is now, 30 years old. So we're limited in how much technology that we can bring into these healthcare lodges. So because of these reasons, we have decided um, to centralize our three healthcare centers into one new healthcare building. It will be on our land here, very conveniently located to the three campuses that we have here. And this new healthcare center will provide the same type of services: assisted living apartments, long-term care, short-term rehab, and we will have distinct memory support residences, which we don't have today. Today we blend our memory support residents in with long-term care. Just because we don't have the scale of residents to have a unique memory support area, but in the future we will. And so the benefits of this are that, particularly with a unique memory support area, that we'll be able to go a little deeper into services and programs for that, for those residents. But we also are going to be able to make some really wonderful changes to the design of the building. The architects have used this term biophilic design. And really what that means is just bringing more nature and outdoor space into the building. So we'll have things like, rooftop decks. We'll have lots of greenery inside the building, lots of window space. We'll have courtyards. Everything will surround a courtyard. So it'll really bring more light into the building, into the residences, as well as really easy access for particularly our memory support and long-term care residents, easy access for them to nature. We'll also be able to introduce the technology that's being used broadly in more advanced hospital and other clinical settings. We'll be able to introduce better technology to support our healthcare workers and our residents. And by having all of our healthcare workers in this one building, it'll make it much easier to manage the staffing challenges that we've had in the past by trying to run three small healthcare centers with all the required nursing staff. So some exciting changes happening there. We don't have a firm timeline yet, but we're really hoping we can break ground in early 2025 and have this building up in 2027. Here's a few pictures because we have largely designed this building in broad strokes anyway, in terms of knowing what the general layout will be and how many residences we'll have there to support each level of care. So in the upper left, you're looking at the front of that building and how beautiful that entry is going to be. On the bottom left, you're looking at a courtyard that we will have in the assisted living residences. So beautiful courtyard with lots of nice plantings. It will allow us to do Tai Chi out there, as well as have entertainment. And then on the right, you're seeing a rendering of what the lobby might look like, with lots of beautiful light and high ceilings and lots of natural materials incorporated into the design. So we're really excited about this. It's going to be a beautiful new space. When we build this building and we get our three healthcare lodges consolidated into one, we do have plans to add more apartments. We're looking at adding about 70 more independent living apartments that will occupy the spaces that were formerly occupied by the healthcare lodge. So The good news with that is that we have a very long wait list, so it will help some people get here a little bit sooner than they might otherwise have. But we're looking probably more at the 2028 timeframe before those apartments will be ready for occupancy. So that's a little bit about our healthcare strategy. I'm going to transition now and just talk really more about when you live at RiverWoods Exeter, what kind of services we're providing to you. First of all, we have a very flexible dining program, so you will get a portion of your meals provided to you that are included in your monthly service fee. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that shortly. Each of our 3 campuses here in Exeter has its own fitness center, as well as an indoor pool, where we run exercise classes. And Dan's going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about our fitness program. Also included is entertainment and cultural opportunities. We bring in a lot of wonderful musicians and artists and speakers, and really a lot of opportunities to continue to learn and grow and enrich your brain and your body through those opportunities. We have a wonderful transportation team here. We get you where you need to go. We have shuttles running between our 3 campuses, because between the Woods campus and the Boulders, it's a bit of a walk. So if you don't want to walk, you can hop on a shuttle to get there. And then our transportation team can also get you to places like the train station in downtown Exeter, or the bus station. Or can also get you to local medical appointments within a 25-mile range. So really convenient to have that transportation team. We clean your apartments every other week, so housekeeping is included in your monthly service fee. And then we also, on a weekly basis, wash your flat linens, so your sheets and your towels, which you provide. We wash them and return them back to you. We take care of all of the maintenance on your apartment or cottage. So interior or exterior, we're taking care of that. So if something breaks, the microwave goes bad, or something's broken, or a light bulb needs to be replaced, we'll take care of all that. No more hunting for that handyman, because we have the handy people here at RiverWoods Exeter to take care of all that. Your utilities are covered, your heat, your air conditioning, your water, electricity, all of that is included. What's not included is your cable TV, your Wi-Fi, and a landline, and all those 3 services together. We get a great deal from our providers, and we bundle those together for about $95 a month. Your monthly service fee also includes access to the wellness clinic, which we talked about earlier. So that might save you a trip to your physician if we can solve it here at the wellness clinic. That's always good, because that saves you a copay with your physician. And then we also, of course, security is so important in a community, as it is anywhere. We provide 24-hour security and an emergency response system. Let's talk a little bit about dining, because that's a super important part of the socialization experience here, as well as if you're a foodie like Dan and I are, food is important. So the way our dining program works is you will receive a monthly bank of dining points that are included in your monthly service fee. And those dining points can be used either for eating in the dining room, for takeout meals, guest meals. You can use them for catering if you need a party platter or a shrimp plate put together. And you can also purchase perishable grocery items, because we have a small marketplace here which has fresh produce and milk and eggs and juice and ice cream, and you can use your dining points to purchase any of those items. So it's very flexible. It is designed to give you one 5-course meal a day in terms of the value that you receive. If you don't use all those dining points in the course of a month, they roll over to the next month. So it's very flexible. We have 5 different restaurants here across our 3 campuses that you can eat at to use those points. And we try to be as sensitive as possible to dietary preferences. We're seeing more and more people coming in who are gluten-free or have various dietary restrictions. So we do our best to work with our residents to support those preferences and restrictions. And we always have vegetarian choices every day for dinner. That's one of our several choices for a meal. We try to source as much as we can locally. We have beautiful farms in the area that can provide us both with, produce, dairy, as well as meat products. So we try to source as much as we can from the local New Hampshire farmers. This is a picture of one of our dining rooms. This is at the Boulders campus. All of our dining rooms will have beautiful fireplaces in them and nice high ceilings. This one in particular also has an outdoor patio area that's beyond where you see those windows. So really lovely, relaxing, cozy yet airy space in which to dine. This is a picture of our dining room, our casual bistro dining room in the foreground at our Ridge campus. In the background, through that doorway, you're seeing a peek into the more formal dining space. So those are dining spaces in 2 out of our 3 campuses, which are just really lovely. We also have stores for dry goods at all 3 of our campuses. You're seeing a picture here of our store, country store at the Woods campus, which is chock full of necessities and a few indulgences like Klondike bars and mint Milano cookies, my favorite. This is really designed to just provide convenience to our residents because we realize, particularly, at some point people stop driving, though we do have grocery trips twice a week, but it gets harder and harder for people to get out and get the things that they need, particularly in winter, but also as people age and they have less energy. So we try to bring the goods to our residents. So we have this wonderful country store at the Woods campus that is run by resident volunteers. Everything is purchased at Market Basket and priced the same as Market Basket. So whatever you would purchase here would just be added on to your monthly bill. We also have stores at the Boulders and the Ridge campuses. They are a bit smaller than this one, but you could shop at any 3 of them if you like. I'm going to turn it over to Dan now, who's really going to delve into the lifestyle here. What's your day-to-day look like and where can you go? What can you do at RiverWoods Exeter? So Dan, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you for everyone attending today. We'll give Lisa a little break to catch her breath here. And we're going to take you inside and around the community as we go forward. So we are going to start our multi-purpose rooms or community rooms. This picture is our Boulders Hall. This is our largest community space on all of our 3 campuses. It holds approximately up to almost 200 of our residents or guests that are coming for an event. So if we have outside speakers coming to speak to the community, entertainment, whether it's a band, a live soloist, musicians, movie nights, or community events, even bridge or some of the larger card-playing groups, we use our large community rooms. So we call them multi-purpose because they can be used for a variety of different events throughout our calendar. Our community life team works with our residents, putting together a wonderful community life calendar that's bi-weekly, so residents can plan out their next 2 weeks or some of our larger excursions that could be off-site in the community or venturing up to Portland, down to Boston, or out to the seacoast. So wonderful opportunities for residents to get together, gather, to listen to entertainment, speaker programs, or be actively involved in the community. Another great feature at RiverWoods is our libraries. We have 3 libraries, one at each of the 3 campuses. This is depicting the Woods Library. These are resident-run libraries. Our residents will volunteer their time to maintain the libraries. We have a library committee that will be selecting new books for each community. So new books are very well sought after by our residents. And as you can see, the shelves are very full in our community at all 3 of our libraries. So library donations are very limited unless it's newer books in the community. We also have access for our residents to have all daily newspapers, so local and national newspapers such as the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and of course the New York Times crossword puzzles that we make copies of in each library. Variety of magazines and publications available, DVDs and CDs, if that's still of interest to residents, or just a gathering spot to read a book or find out something new. So our libraries are very well sought after in each of our communities. And we always say when you're coming for a tour, make sure you see the mystery room at the Ridge Library because it's a little special addition that they have there as well. And we also have a partnership with our libraries that I want to mention with the Exeter Town Library as well. Moving forward, fitness is a big part of our Residence Day here at RiverWoods Exeter. We have fitness centers or fitness rooms at each of our 3 campuses, including a 24-hour gym. We have full fitness classes that run Monday through Saturday in our community. And our fitness team at RiverWoods Exeter, made up of 7 members, will do a fitness evaluation with our new residents moving in to help you learn all the different aspects and programs that are available to you in the community. Those will include, as we're looking here at one of our 3 pools. This is our Boulders pool, which is our largest of our 3 indoor pools. It is a warm water pool, the temperature just under between 80 and 85 degrees on a given day. So they are somewhat warm water. This pool depicts a lap lane. So those people who are swimmers have a dedicated space to swim your laps in the Boulders pool. We also do aquatics programs. We do water volleyball. That's a very big hit for our residents at the Woods and Ridge. And then residents can just come down on their own time as well. Our pools are about 4.5 feet deep at the very most. And we also have locker rooms nearby and used by a small percentage of our residents. But it's a really great feature to have and something that you can do for your whole time here in the community. This is our Boulders fitness room. So again, each of our 3 communities has a fitness room or fitness center. Again, available 24 hours a day for those residents who can't sleep at night or would like to find an activity to do. We have treadmills, rowing machines, ellipticals. So really all the latest equipment. We have stretch bands, medicine balls, and just areas that residents can use to work on their own programming and own schedule. So a great opportunity to stay fit. And these are in addition to things that are exterior of our community. So if you like walking trails, we have just under 5 miles of walking trails. We have bocce ball courts. And then, of course, the latest craze over the last few years is pickleball. So when RiverWoods Exeter started with 1 pickleball court, and now we have 2 courts and enjoyed by all levels. We have some very, very talented pickleball players and then some novice players that are still learning the ropes in some of the programming. Some of the other fitness activities that take place, we do everything from kayaking in local rivers, paddleboarding, bicycling, and then indoor activities or the fitness classes range from Pilates, Tai Chi, strength and balance, foundations classes, and more. So if you are looking for fitness programming, indoors or outdoors, RiverWoods Exeter really has it all here for our residents. A big component for other residents is our creativity spaces or creative art studios. We have multiple of them at each campus based upon what type of art or creative art that you'd like to entertain yourself with. We have a variety of artists that live in our community. We have galleries at each of our 3 campuses that showcase resident art or collections of residents that they might own and have that they've brought with them to RiverWoods Exeter. Our art spaces range in everything from things like watercolors, drawing. We have a pottery studio available at our Ridge campus. We have basket weaving available. So we have a variety of art programs around our community. This is depicting our art studio over at the Woods campus, where we have 2 art studios. They're very well lit, let a lot of natural light in. So if you are an artist and want to reserve space to work on a project, whether it's a group activity with an outside instructor, one of our residents, or a community project. And these range in classes from, again, watercolors, drawing classes. And then we have a large contingent of our residents that knit, quilt, sew, so other fabric art activities. So whatever your art background is, it really would fit well into our RiverWoods. Another unique feature, or at least unique to many of the communities that are retirement communities, is our wood shop. If you are a woodworker or have interest in woodworking, our Woods Wood Shop is one of the best around. It's a very large wood shop with tools and machinery that were somewhat donations and then items purchased from the RiverWoods group. These are some of our members or residents that live here. They do a lot of activities and projects, from sign making for our trails. The resident in the middle actually builds and makes these canoe paddles. We have other residents that work on small projects, and then residents that work on even pieces of furniture. So if you're a novice or looking to learn a new activity, or you come with a skilled woodshop background, woodshop is a really great component for some of our residents. It's a great activity to build friendships, work on things together, or work on community projects. And then what community doesn't have music? Music background here at RiverWoods Exeter is very large. These ladies, as you can see, are part of a string quartet. We have a number of music options available for our residents here, including a music room at the Woods campus, so a dedicated space for people to practice as a group or a single activity. We have pianos at all 3 of our campuses and our community spaces, and then other areas as well. So if you're a resident that is interested in joining a choral group, one of our barbershop quartets for male or all women barbershop quartets, or instrument groups, we have many options. And then the residents will play for other residents in the community at some of our community events. The holidays is a great time to listen to some of the great music that they've been practicing over the weeks and time. We also have a recorder group for some other novice players. So a great opportunity for you as a resident to come in, join a choral group, or just an everyday activity group here in the community. And those for people who like the outdoors, we have a wonderful array of raised garden beds in the community. Every spring, our garden committee will reach out to residents to see of interest in having a garden bed. They are raised, so much easier than getting all the way down to the ground. RiverWoods will prepare the beds, and then residents will maintain the gardens with the garden committee throughout the year, whether it's growing vegetables. We have wonderful tomatoes and cucumbers, and then flowers. So our residents, we have many residents with green thumbs around the community that do a wonderful job creating landscapes either around their apartment on the first floor or using one of the raised garden beds. We also have one of the largest arboretums in the state of New Hampshire with over 300 species. Some other activities around the community, including our honeybees. So if you have a background in having bees and having honey, we have a couple of great options for you here. We have residents and staff members that will participate in creating the honey, and then it's sold in our country stores. So you get to actually have some of the fruits of your labor here. We also have 3 goats in the community, part of the community from the original over at the Boulders campus. So just all kinds of interesting outdoor opportunities from gardening, bees, and more. And now we're going to take you a little bit more into apartments and cottages around the community. We're going to give you a little update of what is included, and then some different options and styles of apartments and cottages. So we're starting talking about our features of our apartment and cottages. Here at RiverWoods Exeter, we have fully equipped kitchens, and those are in all levels from a studio apartment all the way up to a cottage. Fully applianced by RiverWoods with stainless steel appliances, refrigerators, stove, microwave, dishwasher, and a garbage disposal are part of all of our featured apartments and cottages. All apartments, cottages are individually controlled heating and air conditioning, or we call HVAC. So you would control your temperature. So if you like it cold or warm, again, your own apartment or cottage has that ability to do that. We are completely Wi-Fi enabled in the community, really important to know. So if you need to hook into that Wi-Fi, it is available throughout the community. We have solariums that are dedicated spaces, which are on all levels. Our communities are made up of either 2-level communities at the Woods or 3-level communities at the Ridge and Boulders. The solariums offer a wonderful array of natural light that comes into your apartment. First floor solariums would have a walkout option where the upper floors could have either a porch or additional area outside of the area. We also have storage areas for our residents. Storage is one of the biggest concerns or challenges as people are downsizing or right-sizing coming into the community. So it's an additional 4x4 storage cage that is outside of your home or apartment that you would have that additional storage area for seasonal decorations, suitcases, or just things that you don't want in your home or cottage on a daily basis. As Lisa mentioned, we have 24-hour security in the community and emergency response. We have e-call pendants that residents can wear around their neck or on their wrist. That would be for any case of an emergency that residents could push that button and someone come to their aid and then seek additional assistance if necessary. We have guest rooms or guest suites available at all 3 of our campuses. Guest suites are for those outside visitors, family members, friends that are coming to see you and staying overnight. Residents can certainly have people stay in their apartment or cottage, but we also have those 3 guest suites available for residents to use for their guests. It's a minimal charge or a nominal charge for the nightly stay, but think of it as convenience right here in the community. We also have options at local hotels and inns in the area. So if you have people visiting, certainly there are multiple options, especially around the holiday period. And then parking, a big question that we get asked on a regular basis. We have multiple parking options available in the community. All residents are assigned outdoor parking spaces. And just so you know, because we are in those winter months at this time, even though we don't have that white snow on the ground, our community will take care of removing snow from your vehicle and move those vehicles during those times. And then covered car parking options include exterior outdoor garages, carports, and then under building parking at both the Ridge and the Boulders. I'm going to take you inside a few apartments just so you can see the layout, some of the stylings. Again, these are resident apartments. Residents are very kind to let us show features or some of their furnishings. So we're going to be starting with a Trillium apartment. This is a large 1-bedroom apartment over at our Woods campus. And this is a first level or first floor walkout. So it's a very desirable floor plan with the walkout option and, of course, the larger 1-bedroom showing a nice size living dining combination space. And then towards the front, the solarium, which is that beautiful area with all the natural light that comes in. You can see the flooring here. So that is what we call LVP or luxury vinyl planking, which is standard in our living and dining spaces. This is a kitchen in the same Trillium apartment. All of our kitchens in many of our apartments here at RiverWoods Exeter are being updated or refurbished as we have new residents. We've had some residents live here for a very long time. So all kitchens now are becoming open concept or open style. So opening up, we used to have pass-through windows and now they're open concept. We have beautiful white cabinetry. You can see all the stainless steel appliances and the stone countertops, which are now standard in all of our apartments. So offering a really good amount of cabinet space in the kitchens. Now we're moving to a little bit of a larger 1-bedroom. This is a Magnolia floor plan. So this is at our Ridge campus. This is a larger floor plan with an open concept style for a 2-bedroom and 2 full bath. You can see the kitchen here on the right and the bottom, living, dining space, large solarium towards the front. The primary bedroom in this floor plan would be to the right, and then the secondary bedroom, which many of our residents use as an office space, a den, sitting room, and the secondary bathroom would be here as well. Another feature that we won't see in any of these is we do have full-size stackable washers and dryers in all of our apartments. Just wanted to make a note of that because that's a really important feature for a lot of our residents to be able to do laundry right in your own home or apartment. And this is just a reverse look back at the kitchen in the Magnolia floor plan. Again, showing you a more open concept kitchen with a nice island overlooking the living and dining areas and a good amount of cabinetry. It's all soft close cabinets and nice pullouts. So residents really get a really good access to a kitchen here in the community. We're now moving over to the Boulders campus. This is a Cypress floor plan. So this is a 2-bedroom or a little bit on the smaller scale 2-bedroom. Again, just showing you different furnishings, how our residents really decor their apartments. All residents will move in with their own furnishings. That includes bedding, furniture for your living, dining. Some residents will choose to purchase new furniture moving in. Some residents will take everything they have and just kind of put everything into place. We do have grid plans, so as residents are looking to move in, certainly it's a big challenge trying to find what you're taking with you from your own home or into RiverWoods here. And then as we've been pointing out, the solariums, this is a solarium in an Elm apartment, which is a large 2-bedroom over at our Boulders campus. This solarium is a little more squared off. The Boulders has a slightly different, more squared floor plan than the Ridge or Woods, but really showing you just all the light and the windows that come into a community. And if we didn't mention before, we are pet friendly. So we do allow residents to move in with their pets, 1 or 2, dogs, cats, mostly in that particular case, but we do a very dog or pet friendly community to pass along. This is one of our cottages. This is a spruce cottage, showing you a larger footprint or floor plan for the kitchen. Still very open concept, just showing you some different, some cabinetry, the flooring, the countertops, the stone countertops. So we like to show you our focus when we're doing our 101s on different floor plans and different styles, as some people would be looking at a 1-bedroom apartment, a 1-bedroom with den, 2-bedroom, or even a cottage floor plan. And a couple other things to note. We'd like to always promote our location. For those who are not familiar with Exeter, Exeter, New Hampshire is part of the New Hampshire seacoast. So we are really conveniently located, not very far from a lot of services and areas. So if you want to go to the ocean, we're about 20 minutes to the ocean, less than a half hour to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which has a lot of wonderful restaurants, activities, a music hall, and then very conveniently located between Portland, Maine, and Boston. So residents that want access to either of those can take our local transportation, the Amtrak Downeaster, which is a stop about 5 minutes away from our community here in Exeter, can go all the way up to Freeport and Portland and down to Boston. We also have access to the C&J transportation, which is a bus service that will go down to Logan Airport. So we're very conveniently located. Again, a large campus here. It's very rural and about 5 minutes to downtown Exeter, which is a very quaint downtown with wonderful restaurants and shopping. And then also approximate to the mountains. So if you like to ski or the lakes region, Lake Winnipesaukee, everything is within a 2-hour radius of RiverWoods Exeter. And then when we talk about the state of New Hampshire, there are many, many wonderful tax advantages that we like to point out. Again, for those not familiar or not from the area, New Hampshire is one of the most tax-friendly states in the country. There is no general sales tax and then no personal income tax. So when you're talking to your financial planner, accountant, whoever that person is that's assisting you in your search for a retirement community, please let them know about all these wonderful tax advantages. No capital gains tax. And then we also, part of your monthly service fee, since you are prepaying for future medical expense, is a tax deduction. So each year, RiverWoods will reach out to our current residents and forecast that for them. Currently, it's around 33% of that monthly service fee can be considered a tax deduction, and then the non-refundable portion of your entrance fee as well. So when you're looking at, again, continuing retirement communities, especially here in the state of New Hampshire, tax advantages are a major plus here for RiverWoods Exeter. And then we're going to take one more slide before I turn it back over to Lisa. Many of you might have received some introductory pricing from the community. If not, this is your first glance. So here at RiverWoods Exeter, we have apartments ranging in size from a studio of about over 570 square feet up to our cottages that run up to almost 2,400 square feet. So basically a home. In that case. Here at RiverWoods Exeter, we have an entrance fee. There is a first-person entrance fee, and these are ranges in pricing because we have over 40 floor plans and styles here in our community. We also have a second-person entrance fee. So if you are a couple, partners, or two people that are looking to live together, that initial entrance fee plus that second-person entrance fee. The initial entrance fee is 90% refundable, as Lisa had mentioned earlier on in our program. So there's very good for asset preservation. And certainly we could talk to you about other contract styles of interest. And then we have a monthly service fee that covers all the cost of living in the community, all the programming, your dining, fitness, all the activities, unless there's an offsite charge. And then a second person monthly service fee, that $19.87, that will be added to the first person if you're a couple, partners, or two people living together. So that gives you kind of an outline of our pricing and our styles of apartments. We have a lot of one-bedroom apartments, and then that's one of our most popular styles here in the community, but as many large two-bedrooms as well. So I'm going to turn it back over to Lisa to kind of go over a few additional things of how to join our wait list, and then get to some questions before we wrap up the hour.
Great. Thank you, Dan. And thank you all for hanging in here. I know we've been sharing a lot of information with you. I'm going to move on and talk about how to join our wait list, because some of you may be curious about that. You're looking at a very enthusiastic group of bocce players here. We do have bocce at 2 of our 3 campuses here, and they have a lot of fun playing that sport together. So we do have a wait list here at RiverWoods. The estimated wait time is between 2 and 6 years for apartments and cottages, and it really depends on what it is you're waiting for. The shorter wait times will be for the smaller apartments. The longer wait times will be for the larger apartments. If you wanted to apply to see what you might be qualified for, you would fill out a confidential data profile, which Dan or Chrissy or I could send to you either electronically or in the mail. Once you are approved to join the wait list, you would place a reservation fee with us that would range between $25,000 and $99,000, depending upon the floor plan that you've been qualified for and that you wish to get on the list for. That reservation fee will earn interest while it's sitting with us, between the time you deposit it and the time we offer you an apartment or cottage. You will earn 4% simple interest. If you decide to leave our wait list, you will get everything refunded except for a $1,000 cancellation fee. And at that point, we do not pay the 4%. But we would pay you a 0.25% interest rate if you decide to leave our wait list. It's a super flexible process. You just tell us when you're ready. And if we call you to tell you we have something for you before you're ready, there is no penalty for saying no. You just simply say, I'm not ready yet, or that's not my first choice. I want to wait a while, and we move on to the next person. We're going to talk now. We're going to answer a couple what we know are usually commonly asked questions, and then we'll transition to your questions, time permitting. So if you do have questions that we haven't answered after we get through this slide, you can queue them up in the, type them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So the first question we get quite frequently is, long-term care insurance. So some of you may have a long-term care insurance policy and wonder how that works with RiverWoods Exeter. It actually is redundant of the services that we are providing you. So many people choose to discontinue their long-term care insurance policies when they do come to RiverWoods. We always recommend that you hold it for at least the first year to make sure you're settled and happy here. If you decide to keep it, you can submit claims with your provider your insurance policy if or when you go into a higher level of care that qualifies for reimbursement. So if you go into assisted living or long-term care, you could then file claims and be reimbursed by your provider. So that is how long-term care insurance would work with RiverWoods. The second question we get asked a lot is what happens if one partner in a couple needs a higher level of care? This happens quite often that people don't age at the same rate. And the person who needs more support would then have the option of transitioning into a different apartment or nursing suite, if that were the appropriate level of care, while the other healthier partner remains in their independent living apartment. Your monthly fee stays the same, even though you would be occupying two different residences. The only additional fees would be for the person who moves into a higher level of care. We would be providing them with 3 meals a day, so it's about an additional $600 a month. The next question that people often ask is, what if I'm not ready to move? When you call me about an apartment, do I go to the bottom of the list? And as I mentioned earlier, no, you do not go to the bottom of the list. We have a policy of you can get 3 offers or refuse 3 offers before you would go to the bottom of the list. An offer is considered when you say, yes, I am interested, and you go through the final qualification process, which is a final financial qualification, as well as an in-person health assessment. If you decide then that you are not interested in moving forward with that apartment or their cottage, that is considered a refusal of an offer. If we just call you and we say we have an apartment, are you interested? And you say no, that is not considered a formal offer. Very few people get beyond the first offer with us. And then lastly, how long do I have to move in once I am offered an apartment or cottage? Typically, we are refurbishing apartments within about 60 days from the date we offer it to you, and cottages are generally taking about 90 days from the date we would offer it until when we would have it ready for you to move in. At that point, when the apartment or cottage is ready for occupancy, that would be the point in time at which you would need to pay your entry fee, and you would begin being billed monthly service fees. You don't have to move in at that point, but you would be responsible for paying the entry fee and the monthly service fees at the point in time that we have your apartment ready for occupancy. So those are our kind of most common questions. I want to just tell you quickly, we have a great workshop coming up on January 4th from 1 to 2 o'clock. It'll be posted on our website, but I'm telling you about it here in case you're somebody who's really interested in the fitness programs here. Melanie Riley will be talking about that. And then I also want to let everybody know that starting today, we have a new website. So if you're looking for us, this is where to find us. It's riverwoodsnh.org. We have consolidated all 3 of our communities, Exeter, Manchester, and Durham, into one website to make it super easy to find out more about us. So now we will transition to questions. And I see that we have 2 queued up in our box, and I'll ask if Dan, you want to answer this first one about cats?
Sure. I apologize if there was any hesitancy about cats. No, we are more than welcome to accept residents that have cats or dogs. I have a dog, so I'm more partial to dogs, but certainly cats or dogs. They have to be indoor cats. That's the only thing that we would say. And we do have a RiverWoods pet policy. Our pet owners are generally very good in the community, but there is something that residents would have to sign that do have pets.
The next question is, do you have a recommendation for help with downsizing? And yes, we do. We actually run an annual webinar on downsizing, and it is posted to our website. But when you are being offered an apartment or a cottage here, we actually give you a notebook with all sorts of resources in it, a list of downsizers, moving companies. So we have lots of experience with that. And can help you with that. Dan, do you want to answer the next question on here?
Yeah, I think Lisa talked a little bit about this just a moment ago as well. So if you're called before you're ready, that first call is a readiness call. So there is no penalty if you are not ready, and you would maintain your place on the wait list. So you do not drop to the bottom of the list if for a readiness call. It's only if you go through the whole process and it's an official offer, you can do up to 3 official offers before you would drop to the bottom of the list. But from a readiness perspective, you would stay where you are.
We have a question about once you move in, can you change the size of an apartment? Moving either larger or smaller. You can. We have an internal wait policy, but we don't encourage that as a strategy for getting here sooner. There are costs involved when you move, and there is a wait time involved as well. We have a policy of moving in 3 new residents for every 1 internal resident that gets moved, and that's by apartment size. So it can be a rather lengthy process, and we really encourage people to be patient and wait for the right floor plan that's going to work for them for the rest of their time here at RiverWoods. Dan, do you want to answer the next one about washers and dryers?
Sure. So yes, all apartments do have washer and dryers now, even at the Woods. We're in the process of updating all of our floor plans. So if you do have a floor plan book that doesn't show a washer dryer, many of our apartments, as they're being refurbished, are being kind of slightly reconstructed to add the washer dryer into its own individual space. So that is a big component and very important to many of the residents here, having that own washer dryer. We do still have a laundry room or 2 in the community because we did not have a washer dryer when they did move in. So if you know someone here and they say, I don't have one, it might be because they've lived in the community for some time.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, we do have some floor plan styles that do not have space for washers and dryers. Dan, I'm not sure if you mentioned that because I was sidetracked here, but the
Yeah.
smallest studio apartments do not, and there's a couple of very small 1-bedroom that we just don't have the space in it, but they have access to the laundry rooms.
Perfect.
So insurance, you are required to have Medicare A and B and a supplemental policy. So people do find that when they move to New Hampshire, they need to get a plan that works with New Hampshire providers. Educational opportunities. We have many things happening here educationally. We have some of the great courses that are run, and we have residents participating in those together, seeing weekly lectures together in one of our meeting spaces. So lots, and then we have a number of people that come in from the outside to speak, as well as residents who have had really fascinating careers and are experts on certain subjects speak as well. Dan, do you want to talk about the next one, the maps?
Yep. We do have maps, so you can certainly reach out to your senior living counselor to give those to you. The maps in general and location, the Woods is on the opposite side of Route 111. It's about a half a mile to the Ridge campus. The Ridge and Boulders campuses are side by side, so maybe a 5-7 minute walk between those. Everything is sidewalks all the way across the campuses. So very, very easy access for our residents. And plus we provide transportation or shuttles between all 3 of our campuses in that case.
We will be sending out a recording of this event to everyone who registered for it. And I think we're going to wrap up shortly. We're going to answer one more question here. Are there minimal health requirements to move in? What if spouses are at 2 different levels? Yes, and thank you for asking this question. You are required to have a health assessment before you are offered an apartment here, and it really is to demonstrate your ability to live independently safely. So there is a cognitive assessment to make sure you do not have dementia. And there is also a mobility and balance assessment to make sure that you are not at risk of falling. If one couple is supporting the other partner, one partner is supporting the other in a couple, you still need to demonstrate that if something happened to that healthier partner, that the other one could live okay on their own. So there is a very real assessment that happens before we offer you an apartment or a cottage here. So that is the answer to that. Last one we'll answer. Dan, you want to describe a typical tour?
Sure. So you would reach out to your senior living counselor. Tours take generally could be up to almost an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's really showing you all the amenities of the campus. Typically, you would see an apartment or two or cottage based upon what style or interest you have. Certainly, we like people to go through the 101 program, which you have done today, prior to doing a tour, because it gives you a lot more background and makes the tour much more about what you're seeing. Certainly reach out to your senior living counselor to schedule one. Happy to do that for you.
Great. So that's it for today. We will follow up. I know we had one more question there. I'll follow up with that gentleman to answer that. But please visit our website. And I'm realizing this is not our website address. So we're going to have to update that. If you're interested in getting a marketing package from us with pricing and so forth, we can send that out to you either digitally or in the mail. And Dan, Chrissy, and I would love to schedule time with you either on the phone or in person and see if you'd like to apply to join our wait list. We have one last thing we'll wrap up with here, and that is our Seniority Authority podcast. Terrific. If you're into podcasts, this is a terrific podcast that's hosted by Kathleen Toomey, who's the lady here in the chair. She's our vice president of marketing, and she interviews leading physicians, researchers, scientists, thought leaders on the topic of aging and aging well. So really great podcast. I always learn a lot when I listen to her episodes. So check that out at Seniority Authority. And that's it. So thank you all for joining today. We will be sending out a recording, and it usually takes us a day or two to get it edited and pulled together, and then it'll be sent out to you. And Dan and Chrissy and I will be following up with those of you in attendance today. And we thank you so much for your time and your attention and hope you'll come see us soon. Have a great day.